Hello and welcome to Beyond the Shelf. My name is Dawn.
And I'm Jenny.
And we're back again in lovely October. We want to talk about Jenny's favorite thing ever, mystery books. No, I'm kidding.
Spaghetti, cheesecake. What are we talking about?
Music.
Music. I do enjoy music. It's probably not my favorite thing ever, but I do enjoy it.
Well, you always, well, not always, but often have music going when you're packing in the back, getting books ready for delivery.
I do, because it's boring back there by yourself. I got to have something
quiet
going on. Yeah, I'm not good at quiet very long.
So you got the 80s rock. Usually.
More, yeah, classic rock, 70s, 80s, AC/DC, Def Leppard.
So what is going to be on your top music list, though?
Okay, so as I've mentioned several times, I kind of fell into the supernatural hole, and I've been watching that show, and that show has tons of classic rock music.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been listening to Bob Seger and AC/DC, like I said, and Bon Jovi, and just all kinds of. So one of my go-to playlists is kind of my supernatural playlist. It just has all of those. But, I like 80s. I like 90s. I'm not a big fan of grunge or rap. I'm not a big fan of country. I'll listen to some. I love Josh Turner.
He has a very sultry voice.
Very deep and just, so I really
There's something
like
about
him.
that bass that just grabs a hold of your soul.
For sure. Yeah, so I like him. And Brad Paisley, I like him. He's fun.
When I was a teen, I listened to country. So,
So that would have been 90s, right?
Well, I wasn't a teen in
2000s.
the 90s. But I guess I shouldn't say teen. When I was, younger. So, my thing, when I was a kid, it was whatever country was on the radio. So that would have been when Alan Jackson was really big. I think I even at one point owned a Shania Twain CD. And then my mom always played oldies on the radio. So I would be 8 years old and singing along to the Beach Boys or something.
That's great.
Yeah. So those are some classic things that I think of for nostalgia for my childhood, which feels weird because you think I would be NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or whatever those big ones are, but
you liked them too, though, right?
I mean, so I was actively trying to not like mainstream things.
Okay.
So, I liked the Backstreet Boys because NSYNC was the big one where I was from. So I was I like the other one. Whatever the other one is that's not as cool, that's the one I like.
Okay, but now that you live in Ohio and Chris Kirkpatrick graduated from Dalton and he was in NSYNC, now you have to like NSYNC.
Is that required to live in Ohio? Go Bucks and go NSYNC,
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess I'm an NSYNC fan now.
You're welcome.
That's the one where the lead singer's hair looks like ramen noodles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about him in a little bit when we talk about misheard lyrics.
Oh, I'm so excited. My mom is also a big Elvis fan. So I know so many Elvis songs because of that.
My mother-in-law loved Elvis.
My mom, to this day in her living room, she has this, it's a photo of Elvis, and in the corner is a clock. And it's got the wood, engraved wood frame and everything.
Is it a little shrine to Elvis in the living room?
It's just the one photo, though.
Okay.
It's just the one, but printed on acrylic or something and then mounted on the wood back. And
so other than your mom's introducing you to the older stuff, and so was there any music that you kind of gravitate towards now that you enjoy listening to?
Nowadays, I like singer-songwriters, more acoustic, almost indie folk stuff. Yeah, so Spotify, every year at the end of the year, they're these are your most listened to things. And apparently one of my most listened to genres is called stomp and clap or something like that. The Lumineers' Hey Ho, that sound.
Okay.
Oh, there's another name for it that's better than that.
I like stomp and clap.
It's
although that kind of makes me think of a hoedown. I don't think I can see you listening to that.
It's not bluegrass and it's not country, but it still sounds acoustic and sometimes folksy, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
whatever that is. But then also Florence and the Machine or Lana Del Rey I also like.
A current band that I love is Imagine Dragons. And you probably hear me listening to that one a lot. I like all of their music. I've liked all their albums. And they just dropped a song, and I bought it, at midnight or whatever, because I really am a big fan.
That is how I feel about Hosier. He only has like 3 albums, and his most recent one just dropped, and I've listened to it like 30 times already.
Is he the Take Me to Church guy?
That's what everybody knows him for.
And that song is in Supernatural. It's on my playlist.
All right.
That's why I know.
It's a great playlist.
Not only just like genre of music, do you have like a favorite artist? So for me, I like guitarist. Okay, Angus Young from AC/DC is just, he's so good on the guitar. It's just amazing. I just love listening to him. There's somebody that she plays violin, but it's not a traditional violinist. Lindsay Sterling.
I'm familiar with her.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't she get started on like America's Got Talent or something?
I think that she did, but I don't think that she got really far in that.
Yeah.
I know that like back in the day when Imagine Dragons was starting, she was the person that opened for them. But now she does, concerts all over the place. She's really popular.
And she uses like electric violins.
Yes.
Yeah.
And dances around the stage, and she's very
energetic
peppy.
As compared to what you would think of traditionally with a violin. Yeah.
But my favorite instrument, though, I think when it comes to, and this is part of the hard rock or the band that I really like, or band music that I like, is drummers. And Rick Allen from Def Leppard, he only has one arm, and he pounds it out. And he lost his arm in an accident, and so it's just phenomenal to watch him play with just the one arm. And then just last night, while I was like perusing Instagram, I found this guy called Emil Virgo. He's from Russia, and he plays drums, and he does these mashups. He did Eye of the Tiger and an Adele song mashup on the drum. It's so good. So it's EMILVERGO, and he's amazing. You need to look him up.
I love mashups like that where you're like, a song comes in and you think, oh, it's this, and then they like cross it with the lyrics from something else, or you start with one song and then they like cross it into another.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. That's
I
so
do too.
cool. I am one of those people who enjoy music a lot. I kind of play guitar and I kind of play ukulele, but I am so bad at reading music, and I do not understand music theory. Might as well be like rocket science. Like,
yeah.
So whenever people are like really talented like that, I know that it takes like years of study and practice to be able to do that.
Or the people that are just born being able to hear it.
Yeah.
And just sit down and just play a song like with no music in front of them. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
Always blows me away.
Meanwhile, I'm up here like, how do I hold my fingers to make that chord again?
Yeah, like in Friends, Phoebe like tried to teach Joey how to play guitar, and she's like, I call this the claw, and she just like doesn't tell you it's like E minor or whatever. It's just, this is how you hold your hand, the lobster or whatever. I might have been the lobster, but anyhow, yeah. So that's how I would have probably have to learn to. I can't read music. I was in band, but
I can read tab for guitar, but I can't read music. If somebody puts music in front of me, I'm like, I'm doing like the FACE, like
every
for the
good boy does fine.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm like, G, yeah.
But you like to sing, like, weren't you in the choir at church and stuff?
Yeah. So a lot of when I'm singing is like following the people around me and becoming familiar with the song as it is. Like, I do sing with the Orville chorus for the Messiah, but I've also done that for like 10 years. So a lot of it is memory and listening to songs over and over for me to be able to like get the notes more. You obviously know like when it goes up, that's, you sing a little bit higher.
Right.
And I know like quarter note versus a 16th note or whatever, but
like you can keep rhythm.
Right. But I could not, somebody could not be like sing an A and then I'd be able to sing an A or whatever.
A.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I get you.
Definitely not like that.
So we've talked about some bands and music and genres and artists. So have you watched any of the movies that were based on, like Bohemian Rhapsody, based on Queen, which I love Queen.
Yeah.
And have you seen that one?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that. Queen is one of those iconic bands that like very rarely do you meet somebody who's like, I don't like Queen.
Yeah.
They literally revolutionized and changed popular music.
Oh, I know. Bohemian Rhapsody is just...
I feel like you know the words without ever learning the words.
Yeah, and everybody knows when to start banging their head, and it's just... because it's been in I mean, the Muppets did a version of it, you know? Have you ever heard it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I want
So,
to.
you know, in the actual lyrics where it says, Mama, I just killed a man, they're like, Mama, Mama, Mama. It's like, it's pretty funny. I don't remember what it was called, but Elton John, Rocket Man, obviously. Okay, yeah. So he had a movie, Rocket Man.
I've not seen that one.
So that one was pretty good. And then we were talking about this the other day, yesterday, based on the Beatles. That was so good.
Yes.
And Ed Sheeran had a guest spot in that, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure he did because it was pretty funny.
So. Yeah. Like, wasn't it when they're like, playing together or like hanging out before a show or something? I
can't remember. I just kind of remember him like in the recording booth. The movie yesterday, this man all of a sudden, it's like the Beatles didn't exist, but he
and like 4 other people on the planet are the only people who remember the Beatles.
Right, that's what it is. Yeah.
And so he gets famous from like playing all their music and their songs, and everybody's like, "You're a genius." And the 4 other people are like, "You're a fraud." Also, why are we the only people who remember the Beatles?
Right.
That's such an interesting movie.
I really liked it, and I actually am not a huge fan of the Beatles. I know, very unpopular opinion. I know, but I think they're overrated. But anyhow, I did like that movie.
Did you ever see Some Like It Hot?
I have not seen that.
Okay.
No.
That one's pretty funny. It's from 1959. Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon.
The play Sugar is based on that, and I've seen Sugar.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That one is so funny. I've watched that movie through a couple times. It's really hilarious.
So, a couple that I grew up watching at the theater and would be Footloose and Grease. They're so iconic also. The soundtrack, I think I probably owned the soundtrack on vinyl for both of those when I was growing up because I
haven't
loved
seen
all of them.
Footloose in forever.
Have you ever seen the remake?
I haven't seen the remake either. No.
It wasn't too bad, actually. Miles Teller plays Willard, who's like my favorite character on both of them. So that was fun. And then the guy that played Ren McCormick is like a new guy. So I don't know if he's done anything else other than the Footloose remake.
So there's a couple of movies. So my stepdad was a really big classic country fan. So like Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, Hank Williams Sr.
Coal Miner's Daughter.
So Coal Miner's Daughter is a movie. For me, that's kind of a nostalgia movie of sitting down because I almost always would watch it with my stepdad. He's the one who introduced that to me. So like kind of have this love of Loretta Lynn from that. There's this movie called Your Cheatin' Heart that is supposed to be based on Hank Williams Sr.'s life and like how he became this popular singer. But I say supposed to be because his ex-wife directed it and it's entirely biased.
Okay.
Because they got divorced, they separated and he remarried, and whoever that was like is not in this movie at all. His ex-wife was like, "We're just going to play it out like this because this is my reality."
Yeah, right.
George Hamilton plays Hank Williams in that. And
I can't even imagine that.
The movie's from 1964.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. And like there's some truth to it, like how he learned to play guitar from a friend of his, this older black man, and how he like got started playing on the street.
Well, I grew up listening to Coal Miner's Daughter. My mom and her family were from Kentucky. Okay. And they lived fairly close to Butcher Holler. Now, they didn't know Loretta Lynn or anything, but, you know, that's kind of that connection there. And then Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon.
Right.
I thought Joaquin Phoenix did a phenomenal job as Johnny Cash.
Right. Like Johnny Cash and Hank Williams are a couple of people that they have certain like mannerisms and things. And for actors to play those people, you imagine they'd have to watch them. Oh yeah. If there's videos of them or whatever, to be able to kind of mimic those mannerisms that people have to really pull it off. I mean, who was it who played Freddie in Bohemian Rhapsody?
I don't remember his name, but he
does a great job.
Yeah, he does a really, really good job. I've seen like a side-by-side from like when they were doing the Live Aid, I think it was, and it was just, to
be able to like, you know, behave the way they did on stage in those iconic moments even. Yeah. So cool.
Have you ever seen Drumline, Nick Cannon?
Yes.
Okay. I really of course I like drums, so I really, really like that movie. And then there's one called Whiplash, and it's with Miles Teller, and he is a drummer, and he was like really mean. And there's like this actual scene where he's gone it so hard on the drums and going and going. His hands are bleeding, and he's still like would not drop the sticks. And it was pretty intense actually, but it was a good movie too.
Have you ever seen Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg?
Yes.
Okay, my brother loves that movie, and Sister Act too. So there are like some songs we could sing the whole way through.
Yes.
Just
absolutely.
Classics.
Yes. Oh, for sure. And I know you've never seen Pitch Perfect, right?
I've never seen any of the Pitch Perfect movies.
And you don't want to? Were you the one that told me you didn't want? Somebody told me they did not want to.
I'm not like against watching them, so.
I love them. They're a cappella. They're like, we make music with our mouths. But
That's usually how, singing is done.
Well, that they like the instruments, and
right.
stuff. So
how a cappella works.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Little lesson there for
if you didn't know.
Yes.
So speaking of a cappella, are you a Pentatonics fan?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. I do like them. I haven't seen them in concert, but they did do Mary Did You Know? And I think they might have done that with Lindsey Sterling, and it was really good, which, of course, she played violin, so it wasn't full on a cappella, but the two of them together, or the group together, was really, really good. So have you seen or heard of Rock of Ages?
I think I've heard of it.
It's Tom Cruise and Julianne Hough. And so it would be a movie that you would think I would really like because it's based like on rock music, like Def Leppard and all of that. And it's not great. Mostly because Tom Cruise does the singing.
And he's not great
He's not great. I mean, it's probably the only thing he's not great at because, I mean...
He's not jumping off of a building.
No.
Which is like his forte for Mission Impossible.
He might jump off a speaker, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just... I wanted to like it just because of the music, but I just couldn't get into it because of who was singing it. But that's okay. But one of my favorites, though, is School of Rock with Jack Black.
Yes. Jack Black is just so fun in that movie.
Yes. I love it. He's hilarious. And
I love how he encourages every kid like in their own thing. Like
Yes.
that's what you're good at. Way to go.
Yeah.
The one kid who's like, I can design the outfits, and he's like, all right, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so great.
It's a great movie. Are there any other musical movies that you enjoy?
That I enjoy. So I haven't seen it yet, but Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Okay.
So Daniel Radcliffe
Yeah.
plays Weird Al Yankovic in this, and I actually saw this clip where Daniel was being interviewed by some late night TV host, and he talked about how Weird Al was on set. And they had to distinguish between like which Al they were talking about. Somehow Daniel as the character became like the real Al. And even though Al was right there, my husband's a big fan of Weird Al. And we've seen him on stage. I was impressed at how like active he was. Dude was doing like high kicks. And I'm like, aren't you like 60?
He has a lot of energy.
He has so much energy, but fans were like so into it. I know like 3 Weird Al songs.
Yeah.
But like people who knew it were like, singing all the words.
Sure.
Everybody was so into it. It was a fantastic show.
Yeah, my son loved him. I mean, he was when he was little, he listened to him all the time. When you talk about like the energy he had, we went and saw the Oak Ridge Boys this year. They were down in Hartville, and they're like in their 80s. And I'm not Tom Hanksing this one. They actually are in their 80s. But it was amazing the energy that they had, too. They put on probably like an hour-and-a-half concert, which I think is really good.
I can't imagine many 80-year-olds being able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was fun, and it was nostalgic, too, because my parents liked that kind of music, so I grew up listening to that.
Sure, yeah.
And so that was fun.
So are there any music-related books that you've read that you've enjoyed or not enjoyed? Maybe?
I read The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocumb. It's so good. It's very good. He's an African-American violinist. I'm going to say grandpa, like, gives him an inheritance of this violin. And it's probably Stradivarius, is that?
That's the big name.
Yeah, and I think that it's like a big, huge deal, and then somebody steals it. So it's got like a little bit of a mystery type of element in it also, but it was very well written and it's really good.
So Stradivarius actually reminded me of a story. So we had a person come into the library, and they were looking for information about a particular individual who used to live in Orville years ago. This particular guy was a violinist, and the person who lived in Orville built only a certain number of these Stradivarius style violins. So this man said he was originally from Cincinnati area, but now he lives in like Scotland, and he somehow inherited or purchased, came into possession of this Orville native's violin that he had made while here. And so the guy had come to learn about this person. So that was like an interesting,
That is really cool.
interaction that I got to have with somebody, because there was apparently a violin maker in Orville at one point in time.
Was he still alive, or was this like
No, it was much
long ago?
much many ages ago. Earlier this year, I read a book called All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. I think it might have won an award. I can't remember what for. But the interesting thing in this book, so the two main characters are immigrants. They're both from Pakistan, and they end up living in this tiny town in like Arizona or Nevada or something. And they're like the only Middle Eastern kids at their school, and they kind of grow up together. But they have really hard lives. Their families, like, they moved to America for more opportunities. But one of the characters, her name is Noor, and the way that she deals with all of the like stress and trauma in her life is with music. And so there's a lot of different artists that are mentioned. So she listens to like grunge and rap and country and all kinds of different stuff. And so Noor and the other main character's mother kind of bond over a Johnny Cash song. Interesting, because these are songs that like most people, at least most Americans, like, you're like, oh, I know that artist, or I've heard that song before or something. So to have that incorporated is such an important thing for this character, I thought was a neat way to like be able to relate to her and what, because we all use music for escapes even sometimes.
Definitely.
So I thought that was a cool tool to use in that book.
Well, music is just so powerful. And my daughter can listen to a song like one time basically and memorize the lyrics like instantly. It's like really,
as long as she doesn't mishear them.
Right. Well, that's me. So she has to be real careful about what she listens to, because there's some songs that might not be so good. She doesn't want to get stuck in her head,
Sure.
So yeah. So we were talking about misheard lyrics. So I thought we have to discuss misheard lyrics when we're talking about music. And the definition, or the actual word for mishearing of a song lyric, is called mondegreen.
Which is a like self-demonstrating word, because mondegreen itself is a mondegreen.
Okay.
So the phrase mondegreen comes from this poem. The actual lines are that like somebody and his lady like died, and they were laid him on the green.
Okay.
But when people heard the poem, they heard Lady Mondegreen.
Okay.
So mondegreen is like a self-demonstrating definition
awesome
of itself,
thing.
of the word. Yeah.
So I asked some of our coworkers what are some of their misheard lyrics, and one of them was from the AC/DC song "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap." She heard it as her whole life. She's over 30, and she heard it as "Dirty Deeds and the Thunder Chief." And she's like,
Who's the Thunder Chief?
I don't know, but she thought for sure he was part of the AC/DC because she was singing it. Her significant other was like, "What did you just sing?"
That's my favorite, when
I've
somebody
been
like
singing it my whole life. So she just found that out, and she's like just recently found that out. And another one of our coworkers told me that the song "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney and the Wings, one of her children thought, instead of "Live and Let Die," he thought it was a song about a little red guy. So I thought that was cute.
I can't remember the artist, but there's a song, it's still on the radio now, where they sing "I've got high hopes for a living."
Yeah,
So their kid thought it was "high hopes for a lemon."
for a lemon.
I mean,
Okay.
this is like a second grader,
Yeah.
but still, high hopes for a lemon.
And another coworker just emailed me today, and she says Taylor Swift's song "Blank Space" has a line that says, "I got a long list of ex-lovers." She thought it said a long list of Starbucks lovers. So
Half of America.
yeah, I guess.
Why are you keeping a list of people who enjoy Starbucks? Are you ordering for them? That would be so nice.
Yeah. So my kids, when my kids were growing up, they were listening to like Ice Ice Baby. Okay, Vanilla Ice. One of the lines is "Flow like a harpoon daily and nightly," Well, they heard it as "Look Like Keira Knightley," and so they would sing. I was like, I don't think she was alive when he made that song, kids.
Small child,
I'm pretty
maybe.
sure that was not what those lyrics are.
Oh, that's so great.
And we sing it this way because we think it's funny, but Bad Moon Rising by CCR, we always sing, there's a bathroom on the right. Yeah, we sing it that way. Oh, so my daughter also told me that she thought that the Smash Mouth All-Star song, So Much to Do, So Much to See, So What's Wrong with Taking the Back Streets? She thought it was So What's Wrong with Nick in the Back Streets? She thought it was a song about Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys.
What's wrong with Nick?
Yeah. Oh, and another one, my other daughter, there's a song called Apologize by One Republic, and it's too late to apologize, it's too late. She heard it as, instead of it's too late to apologize, she heard it as it's too late to call the judge. So we're like, I guess, I don't know if I'm not sure. But my two that I misheard, and I'm like, well, these are the dumbest lyrics I ever heard. Macklemore's Can't Hold Us. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. I thought it was like the ceiling fan holders. And I'm like, I don't understand. That's
You know how
stupid.
the ceiling fan holders have their hands up.
Yeah,
What?
that's what.
What is a ceiling fan holder?
Well, have you ever seen a ceiling fan?
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
so
not
that's-
in my entire life have I ever.
So that's what it is. That's the holder.
The middle part is the holder.
Yeah.
Are you holding the ceiling fan up? Is that
I
what you thought he was
guess.
talking about?
But then my most favorite one was, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of country music. So we heard this song by Diamond Rio called Wrinkles. And it's, those wrinkles ain't nothing to be scared of. And I swear, I was listening to this song and I looked at my kids and like, this is the stupidest song I ever heard. And we're like, why does it say odor eaters ain't nothing to be scared of? Instead of those wrinkles, I thought they were saying odor eaters.
Oh,
So there you go.
that's so
Those are some of my misheard lyrics.
Okay, so I have two. One is from a friend of mine. Beyonce's All the Single Ladies.
Okay.
So you know how all the single ladies, all the
Yeah.
single ladies. He heard, I want a cigarette. And he was like, somebody just give her a cigarette.
I want a
I
cigarette.
don't know why.
Okay.
This one was told to me by a friend. I remember this from middle school. The song Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. The song is from 1997. So the actual words are, I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Right.
My friend told me there was somebody she was having a conversation with who thought the lyrics were, I got no job, but I'm an opera fan.
I love it. I'm going
You're
to sing
never
it that
going
way.
to keep me down.
The song, for one thing, the group is called Chumbawamba.
Yes.
Okay. And Tub Thumping is the name of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Those
So why not?
those lyrics could definitely go
Why
with
not?
that.
I got no job, but I'm an opera fan. You're never going to keep me down.
That is awesome. Oh, it's been fun to talk about music. I do really enjoy it. So what we got coming up in October, Dawn?
Well, for starters, we want to let everybody know that we will be closed on Wednesday, October 11th for Staff Development Day.
Yay.
So that's a day the staff get to kind of hang out together, but we also kind of refresh ourselves on some important things about the library and make it a better place for all the people who get to come here. So that is Wednesday, October 11th. It's the middle of the week, but we're letting you know.
And then Thursday, October 12th, the book club is doing the book Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. If you've listened to the podcast, you know I love Frederick Bachman. And the times for that will be 10 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Even if you can't come to book club, read that book. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. And he has several books. Is that one part of a series or is it a standalone?
No, it's a standalone. He
Okay.
only has one series,
Okay.
the Beartown series.
Okay.
Everything else is standalone.
All right, very good. So that same week on Saturday, we will have our How To Festival. This is our 6th How To Festival. We haven't been able to have it since 2019, but we're very excited. Saturday.
Oh, we almost made it through the whole podcast without being excited.
I thought about it
We
and then I
would-
said it anyway.
Yeah, would have disappointed the fans, I'm sure.
Saturday, October 14th, How To Festival from 11 to 2. So we're going to have different organizations from around Orville. We'll have different stations in the library where you can learn something new. We're going to have somebody from the 3D lab. We'll have like the dulcimers. If you're ever wondered what a dulcimer was, you can come see a dulcimer. And just some different interesting
It's an
things.
instrument.
It's an instrument that you can play with strings.
And on October 19th,
It is also a Thursday.
Thursday night, Bits and Bytes will be back, and they are going to teach you how to clean up your PC. And that'll be from 5:30 to 7:30.
There is registration for Bits and Bytes. We collaborate with Jesse from Maslin Public Library, and he is a tech guru, so he will be able to help you figure out how to clean up your PC. We have our annual Fandom Week at the end of October. It's the 23rd through the 28th. That's a whole week to celebrate all of our fandoms. If you don't know what a fandom is, go back to last October, a year ago's episode called Fandoms, and learn about what fandoms are, and then come to the library dressed up as your favorite character or wear your like favorite movie, TV shirt.
And won't you have different activities at different stations, and people can win little treats or prizes, right?
Exactly.
And then October 27th will be the library's trick or treat. So bring your kids in, and we'll have like little stations as well at Reference and Cirque and Up in Children's where they can get a little sticker or maybe a little piece of gum or something like that for trick or treat.
Yep. Going into November just a little bit, our fall trendy titles is on November 2nd. That's at 3:30 in the afternoon. Marcia is gathering up a list of new releases.
And I am reading them, like trying to read them like crazy so I can be beneficial to the group. Last time we got together too soon, and none of the books had been released, and I couldn't talk about them. I don't like it when I can't talk about books, so I couldn't read them. Yeah. That pretty much wraps up what's coming up. Sneak peek for October and beginning of November. Just thanks for joining us. We're very excited about the winners for our podcast. So I'm Jenny.
And I'm Dawn.
We'll see you at the library.